Do not waste your time trying to memorize all of the notes around the fretboard, especially not this way. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Memorizing and learning are two completely different cognitive experiences, or just different. I don't know how completely different they really are. But if we just have a bunch of information that we're trying to memorize, right, versus learn and use creatively or implement, once we can do it creatively or implement, in this case, use it musically and linguistically, right? Music is a language. The guitar is just the voice that we're singing or speaking that language through. That becomes far more effective than just memorizing where the notes are for seemingly no reason, right? As a lot of people do start this journey without even knowing why they need to, which they don't yet, know where every note is along the fretboard. If you don't know, my name is Ryan Gott. I've been helping guitar players for 20 years really bridge the gap between their creative ideas and what they're able to play. I would love it if you would hit subscribe and the bell notification to get more videos on how to make your guitar playing better. Okay, my friends, memorizing. We don't want to do it. We want to be learning, okay? This is going to be sort of a 4-step process, which at the end is going to be much, much, much faster than that original way or thought of learning or memorizing all of the notes around the fretboard. Okay, we're going to learn this effectively, I promise you, and you're going to get better at knowing where the notes are in the pentatonic and be able to create some good solos along the way. Okay, so let's get into it. Instead of that old way that I was showing you, let's just do this. Let's find every single A that we possibly can. Now, I'm not going to tell you where they are. You can watch me do it. All right. But I want you to find it. Whether you put a tuner on to really figure it out, whether you know how to find it through octave movements, however it is that you're going to do it, I just want you to find every single A that you can around the fretboard. You can go up to that 14th fret if you want. I don't go too far above, for this particular exercise, too far above the 12th fret just because everything starts over. So everything that you're learning here, you can just move like 5th fret, move up to the 17th fret, and you sort of already know it. You can sort of visualize that part of the guitar. So what we're going to do is we're going to find every A. Seems like we're memorizing. We're learning, okay, because we're going to use this musically and creatively. Find each one of those A's. Awesome. I want you to take your first finger, and I want you to play the next 2 notes in the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, it looks like this. Right, if you don't know it, okay, it's the 5th fret here, and then I go to my 8th fret with my pinky, and then 5th fret on the next string. Okay, so my 1, my flat 3, and my 4 of my minor pentatonic. Quick crucial part of this is the spelling, but the numeric spelling of the minor pentatonic. Okay, if you haven't heard it, that's fine. Right, there's going to be 5 notes, and it's going to go up in order: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. You don't need for this lesson to know why they are those numbers. That's just the numeric spelling of the minor pentatonic. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Okay, so as I'm going through this, I'm showing you, I'm going to start with doing a 1, flat 3, 4, and then doing the 1 up here, 1, flat 7, 5. Follow along, okay, with the frets and the positions, but I'm going, that's the spelling. That's our spelling of the minor pentatonic, not ours, like mine specifically. That's just the spelling, the numeric spelling of the minor pentatonic, right? 5 notes: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. And then it starts again. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Okay, just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, why am I picking that? Why am I not doing the major scale? Generally, when we get into improvisation, creating our own solos, the minor pentatonic is going to be the first scale that we use. Generally, it's the first scale that I use in my mentorship program. Okay, it is very effective. So that's what we're going to do. First finger on each one of those A's that you found. What you're going to notice is the positions look all the same, except whenever you're crossing the G string to the B, there's going to be 1 fret discrepancy compared to all of the other positions. But everything is going to look basically the same. And again, that is your 1, your flat 3, and your 4 of the minor pentatonic scale. Now, you might be saying like, cool, what am I going to do with that? Play it over and over. You're bridging some gaps here, I promise you. It's starting to work. Weird thing from the G to the B. Really used to that. But we need to start now attaching it to something linguistic, something musical, something creative, to implement it to make it learning and not memorizing. This is what we're going to do. You're going to play a lick. That's it. I'm just going from the first note of that scale. 1, flat 3, 4, 4, flat 3, 1. And I'm saying the numeric spelling of the minor pentatonic scale. Okay? 1, flat 3, 4, 4. That's it. Right? Do it everywhere. Now, as you're doing that from each one of those A's, you can get creative, right? Maybe giving that 4 a little bit of a bend, playing it longer. You can add some more notes. All I did was play the second note, that flat 3, a couple more times. And hold that 1, 4, right, a little bit longer. Otherwise, it's just... Now we're getting a little creative, okay? Now the purpose is just going from the A, right, to the flat 3, to the 4, and then back down again, just in that scale order, but you still got creative going up and down there, right? Do it over and over from each one of those A's. Get really comfortable. Get really comfortable going from the G to the B string, right, and having that 1 fret discrepancy there versus all of the other positions. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our third finger, our ring finger, on each one of those A's. And we're going to go down 2 notes of the minor pentatonic. Now I'm going to use the numeric spelling. If you don't know what the 1 is, the root note, so that'll come a little easy. But flat 3, 4, flat 7, 5. If you don't really know what those notes are, that's fine. Just know the spelling of that minor pentatonic, okay? I'm going to put my ring finger now on each A. Now, it's not quite going to work on this top string because I'm going to be going up this way, right? But on each A, and I'm going to play that A. I'm going to go down to the flat 7 and then to the 5. So 7th fret of the D, right? 5th fret of the D string, and then 7th fret of my A string. And in the minor pentatonic, that spelling is 1, flat 7, 5. Okay? That's going to be the next part. And I can do the same type of lick. Go to each one of those A's. I can get as creative as I would like to. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to bridge those 2 eventually together. I don't need to do it right away. What I am noticing here is from each one of those A's, I can go up. And if I know that spelling, right, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, I can now attach the notes to it. This is where the memorizing of the notes comes in hand. Now, what's really cool is we're playing some sort of a lick here, right? So we're already moving this minor pentatonic around and noticing where my root note is, my 1, all over the neck. Let's attach the notes to it now. You know where all the A's are. That was the first thing you did. All of the 1s of the scale are your A's, right? All of the flat 3s, they're all C, all right? All of the 4s, they're all D. So it'll take you a second, but you can take that first pattern and know where every A, every C, and every D is around the neck, just from that lick. Cool. All right, try it. Again, this is a long process. This is not something that you're going to just know right away or watching this video. It's going to take you time going through this and really learning it, right? But this is now setting you up for all of the notes along the fretboard. Now, the best part too is if I go down, I know that that's my A, my flat 7 is my G, and the 5 is E, right, with that lick that we were doing. So every flat 7 is G. I should be able to find every G. It'll take me a bit, right? It's going to take me some time, but I should be able to find the G. Right? If I have to cross from the B to the G string on this one, right? Okay, right? That crosses the other way. This one crossed, and this one crossed this way. Right, from that A. Awesome. So now, go through it. You know where all the A's are. We already did that. See if you can find all of the G's, the flat 7, a whole step away, right? See if you can find all of the E's, the 5, right? In that. What this does, the more you do it, and the more you integrate this with something musical, we've now found A, C, D, E, G, all right? And we're doing it all over the neck. We're noticing the patterns. A lot of these patterns look very similar or are exactly the same, right? Except for that G to B string. So it's going to be easier to find. If I can find the A, I'm going to be able to find a C pretty quickly, right? I can find a D pretty quickly, right? Just using that pattern. And even if I get the discrepancy between the G and the B wrong, right? There's always, or this one, if I go, nope. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to use your ear with it. So the more I do this, the more I realize, oh my gosh, I can find all the A's, all the C's, all the D's, all the E's, all the G's, and all of the A's again, right? All over the fretboard. You don't need more than that. You don't, all right? And this is why. If you can find every C, every B is just one fret behind, right? One half step behind. Every single one of those C's, a half step behind every one of those C's is a B. All right, that's not bad. If I need to find B's, you know, and really figure out where I am. All right, let's say I want to find G sharp. All right, I know where all the G's are. Got it? I can sharp it. You know what I mean? Just knowing also that from E to F is a half step away. There's no sharp in between E and F. And there's no sharp in between B and C. Those are a half step apart. Everything else has a sharp or a flat, right? So if you know A flat is the same note as G sharp, this is going to set you up for every note, right? Finding another G sharp. Oh, there's A. There we go. Or it's one half step behind A or ahead of G. It's a G sharp, you know? And you can go through all of your notes. If you can find every A, right, and every C, you can find all of the notes in between those two, and you can go up to C sharp, because you know if you can find C, you find C sharp, and you can go to A flat or G sharp right there. So all of these notes are really easy to find. Now we're already at D. You can do this, right? This makes sense. Now, anywhere you are, because you know, right, when we're using it musically. Now what's really cool is if you can start bridging this stuff together, if you look at what I have here, my A minor pentatonic, that first position of the A minor pentatonic, can I go play a lick from one A down the minor pentatonic to the next A? However it is that I want to play it, and can I start in some other A's? All right, this is gonna get a little confusing. All right, that's pretty cool, right? Now, when I was doing, once you learn this, where the notes are and how they interact with the A minor pentatonic, and you can start moving these around to different pentatonics, right? But let's just stay with A for now. There are cool ways to notice how these patterns continue and really start bridging all of the pentatonic positions together. That's what I'm going to get into next. So up until this point, we've covered a lot. Next is just, you can see if this next part is like a little whoop over your head, you're just going to see what you will be able to do with this information down the road. So lastly, just because in sort of what I was playing before, is not every flat 7 is going to be just 2 frets behind every root for the minor pentatonic, but also you start here, it's going to be on the next string, right? So I could find, let's say I was on this one, 12th fret of my A string, and I went down to that flat 7, that G. I could go down to that same flat 7, but start here, right? Let me try here. Down a whole step, down a whole step, right? From 10 on the B string to 8, or right? That, and I have my G to B string discrepancy there, right? I'm gonna find, ooh, that's pretty cool, right? That I can find this. What about the other way? What about starting on every root note and going up to my flat 3? Okay, cool. Or that works too, right? Noticing how there's one every single interval that you're playing. Either the if you're going 1 flat 3, let's just say 1 flat 3 4, then change it to 1 flat 3 4, right? So for each one of these, you're going to start on with your first finger like we did before on the A, on the 1, and then play it with your third finger, right, on that, doing 1 flat 3 4. Or if I do here, 1 flat 3 4, 1 flat 3 4. So you're learning it from the 1 with your first finger on the 1, like we did in the beginning, but also from your third finger on the 1, right? And that's where we can get right. And same thing with this one. 1 flat 7 5, flat 7 1. Right, I'm doing that. That's what we did first with my third finger. I can do it with my first finger on there. 1. Okay, I got it. Ah, there it is. Flat 7 5, flat 7 1. Now everything really starts to bridge together. So if you play, up and bridging those together, and then when you learn the positions of the minor pentatonic, sorry guys, it's like super hot in here. When I learn all of the positions of the minor pentatonic, I can use everything that I learned here, right? But for now, let me stop there before I go too far. For now, we've learned from just this how we can know where every note is, the fretboard, and start playing little licks using the minor pentatonic and start bridging them and making them longer and longer and longer. So that's the benefit. Do not sit there and do, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. It's just not effective. You're not actually learning, okay? All you're doing is memorizing, and you don't even know why you're memorizing. So thank you guys for sitting through this incredibly hot. I want to turn the fan on because you can hear it like really badly. But thank you for sitting through this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you're sort of stuck, in that pentatonic, maybe just guitar solo plateau that we all get into, and you really want to bridge the gap between your creative ideas and what you're able to play, becoming fully fretboard fluent, you can comment pro below. I will reach out and see if you're right for our mentorship program. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next video.